Hi guys, this is Dr. Angus Pike here, founder and creator of What Actually Works. And today we're going to talk our way through the 4 steps to give up sugar, the 4 steps that the food industry literally wish that we didn't know. So over the last couple of weeks I've been posting lots on the impact of sugar on our energy levels, certainly on the impact that it has on our body weight. And I've posted some interesting links that talks about the addictive nature of sugar, the way that sugar literally impacts the same part of the brain that many incredibly addictive drugs do, drugs like heroin and cocaine as well. And I've had lots of questions coming back once people realise this is, well, how do I go about giving it up? And so I'm going to talk you through the 4 strategies, the 4 top strategies that I think that'll really kind of help you get off and push the sugar to the side from there as well. And the first strategy is one that I learned from the world of self-defense. And self-defense is interesting because you go through all this training on martial arts and they talk about, what's the best way to cope with some kind of interaction if there is a fight, if you are attacked by somebody. And what instructors always talk about is that the rule number 1 of self-defense is don't be there. And so I guess what you've probably heard me talk about before is the best way for you to give up sugar, for you to push sugar to the side there, is just don't buy it. So in the end, the chocolate, the lollies, the sugar, if it is in your house, it will win. And so, I've talked about in times beforehand, is that we have to kind of trust our lazy nature as human beings. And if it means getting up and going to the fridge or the cupboard to get some sugar, then perhaps we'll do that. But if it means taking a trip down to the shop or to the supermarket, then sometimes we're less likely to do that. So we know that, the more sugary treats that there are sitting on your desk and the closer they are to you, the more that you'll eat. And so if you're really serious about giving up sugar, then when you get through watching this video, then what I'm going to suggest that you do is you go straight to your cupboards, take out the food that you don't want to be eating and put it in the bin, okay? Outside to the bin from there as well. The further it is away from you, then the less likely that you are actually to eat with it. So rule number 2 is this, is take small steps. And so this was one of our great friends, Tiffany, posted about this recently on Facebook, where she talked about one of the things that was successful for her in giving up her sugar. She started just a day at a time. So she had no big promises to herself, no grand ideas that she was going to be able to give up sugar in totality. So she started with a day and she got successful at a day and then went to 2 and then went for 3. And so one of the mistakes I see with clients all the time is they make these big, boldish statements that that's it, I'm giving up sugar, I'm giving up coffee, whatever it is, the 2. And it makes it really easy for you to fail. So if you're going to give something up and you say, I'm not going to have sugar any longer, and you happen to fail just once that week, then that week is a failure. Whereas if you said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for 3 days sugar-free this week. If you happen to do 4, it's a success. And so by taking small steps, what we want to do is we want to make it incredibly easy for you to succeed and very, very hard for you to fail, because that success will breed more success. So once you master 1 day, then move to 2. Move to 3. Now, invariably, many of us in the past, and me included, there have been times where I've made these big statements, failed, and just the mere fact of failing is really a setback. And we're going to talk about that in a rule a little later on as well. So the third step we want to do is we want to start to use peer pressure. And we've all experienced peer pressure before at school and at work around there as well. But we can use peer pressure for good as well. And so when we share our goals with people at work, at home, perhaps we tell them that, we're going to go 1, 2 or 3 days without sugar, then we can use that peer pressure literally as a level of, or a tool for accountability as well. And if you want to ramp that peer pressure up as well, then perhaps think about using that peer pressure with a carrot and a stick. You might want to tell somebody at work, hey, if you see me going for the sugary treats in the vending machine, then I'm going to do your accounts for the next 2 weeks. Perhaps you want to have the kids at home and they can be terrific for accountability. Let them know that, if you see mum or dad eating sugary this or sugary that, then I'm going to do this. And so, a carrot and a stick, give yourself a reward at the end, not a sugary reward, but perhaps there is something nice that you want to do, whether it's out to the movies or out to the dinner with the family as well. Then use peer pressure and layer it with a reward, a carrot and a stick as well. And the 4th thing that I want you to do is, the one thing that I can promise you on any health change is that you will fail. There'll be times that you will trip up, whether it's a new exercise program and there'll be days that perhaps the kids are sick or you're busy at work and you can't get there, whether it's a new eating program and perhaps you do find yourself down at the cafe and next thing you know you've got this huge slice of cake in front of you or whatever it is for you as well. Is you will fail. And what you want to do is that I guess you want to really redefine failure And a couple of things in amongst that failure that'll be really important is that don't let that one day's failure become two. There are days that I get completely kind of off the wagon, to speak, as well. I have tough days where I don't eat so great. There's tough days where I don't exercise so well. And I learned this from a patient of mine almost 15 years ago. And she was the one that let me know that it's okay to have one day out. In fact, sometimes you'll have a week out. But the key is don't let that week become 2 weeks. Don't let that 2 weeks become a month. And so when you have that day, realize it for what it is. It's a muck up that day. And perhaps you can learn from it. Perhaps what you learnt is, I shouldn't go to that cafe, or I need to keep away from that group of people at that time of the day that's, after work drinks from there as well. So don't beat yourself up. So redefine the failure. Look at it for what you can kind of learn from it. Perhaps you can be the scientist in kind of exploring yourself as well. So we talked our way through 4 steps to help kind of take the purge of sugar and push them away as well. So, let's start by getting rid of the sugar out of the house. Don't buy it. Move it physically away from your space as well. Small steps are better than big steps as well. Use peer pressure, and then finally redefine failure. Don't let that failure once become a failure of a whole week as well. So if there's other things that you found really successful in giving up sugar as well, or other things, or that'll kind of help you keep on the track with your exercise, your eating plans, I'd love to know as well. Or if these have been helpful for you, then please post down below here as well. So this has been Dr. Angus Pike here, founder and creator of What Actually Works, where we help people just like you to get well, and as I say all the time, more importantly, to stay well. See you soon.